Hey, what's going on? I'm Adrian Harris, and I'm here at Scratch Lab. Now, unless you've been living under a rock in Siberia, you should know that DJ culture has exploded over the past 7 years, thanks in part to mainstream hip-hop. So, I mean, it's no wonder that kids want to learn how to mix and scratch instead of, say, play the guitar or drums. So I came down to Scratch Lab, Canada's first DJ school, to see what all the hype's about.
Scratch Lab was founded in June 2004 by 3 local entrepreneurs. They founded the school because they saw that there was not an easy way for wannabe DJs to learn the art. They also wanted to help make the turntable a mainstream instrument, like the piano or guitar. Now kids have a place to learn from the best, and I do mean the best, since Scratch Lab has some of the nation's top DJs teaching classes. I had a chance to sit down with Julia, a Scratch Lab student. She talked about what made her want to learn how to mix and scratch.
I think it's an interesting art form. I think it's really difficult to master, and something I've been interested in for a while. Since I'm a musician, I like to dabble in different things. So, I don't know, it's really interesting thus far.
After seeing the class at work, I thought I'd give it a try, with the help of DJ Grouch.
That's good.
Okay. Should I not push the record?
Yeah, don't push the record.
Oh, okay.
That's lit.
Just start scratching it?
Yeah. Yeah, simple like that. And then just
okay.
bring it back.
So got to bring it back? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
See?
Oh, okay.
Bring it back.
Like, how do you know when it's back there? Okay.
Now go.
All right.
After I was done embarrassing myself, I asked DJ Grouch why he thought DJ culture has gotten so big over the years.
It's just more and more turntables are selling more at like music stores and guitars and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's real. I don't know. I think it's like the cool thing to do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's fine with me because I mean, you know, it keeps me going, right?
Business,
So
yeah.
it keeps me in business. But at the same time, I think it's just something that a lot of kids relate to, especially with the music DJs play.
Yeah.
When I was coming up, you know, I was into hip hop. I was 10 years old, and you know, I couldn't really break dance. And as soon as I seen a DJ on TV and just scratching, I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. And then I just kept on going at it. So now kids have a school to go to. You know what I mean? So like, they can come here and learn. And you know, we didn't have that. I taught myself, right? So,
Right.
But you know, I'll let kids see what I've done and what I could teach them.
Well, there you have it, guys. The ins and outs of Scratch Lab, thanks to DJ Grouch.
It seems to me there's something fishy about the price of gas. I don't mean that it's high. I mean the way it keeps bouncing around in the short term. I think I've noticed a definite pattern, and some of you probably have as well. The price starts out high in the morning, then drops throughout the day, hitting its lowest at around 11 p.m. Then it resets and does the same thing all over again the next day. Over the course of a week, the price will start out high on a Monday, then get a little lower each day until Friday, when it pops back up to catch you just in time for the weekend. Every time the price of gas is generally high, like say when George Bush decides to invade somebody, the gas station owners all shake their heads and tell you how they're only making a few pennies on every sale. But then, how can they afford to swing the price by as much as 10 cents a liter in a single day? Our Consumer Affairs Minister says there's nothing wrong, that this is just normal competition and it's good for consumers. But how can it be good for consumers when they can't afford to buy gas on certain days of the week, or they get charged a lot more if they need gas in the morning instead of the evening? You don't see the price of butter jumping around every hour, and you can be darn sure they'd put a stop to it if anybody tried. Now, it just seems there's something not quite right here. Makes you think, eh?
All right, I'm here with Mr. Eye Scientist, and he's developing a cure for polio. Mr. Eye Scientist, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for coming. I cannot touch your hands. My hands are made of magic.
Okay. Now, just before we start, I thought polio was already cured.
But what I'm doing here is I'm conducting a bunch of experiments to find the cure for polio.
All right, what do you got first? See, you
Well,
got a piece of paper.
I have a piece of paper and a lighter. This is polio.
That's
I'm
polio.
going to try and find the cure right here. That's hot. Ow, that's hot.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's great. Okay, we're starting a fire in here. Okay, so wow. Is that really necessary? What is this proving?
Yes. Well, I have another experiment here.
All right. Great.
This is Lady Miss Polio.
This is polio.
Yes, we're going to find the cure from her.
Okay.
It's good. Where's the cure? Tell me the cure! This is called Chinese torture.
Is this necessary? Do you need to?
You like that? Do you like that?
Mr. Ice, is it
Can you stay out of this, please?
Okay.
How is your feet? Where are you going to walk now?
Is this even?
Tell me the cure.
Is this necessary?
Tell me the cure.
Hey, this isn't even. This isn't polio. This is not. This.
Matt, do you even know what polio is?
Yes.
What is it? Can you tell me, please?
Okay, I see your point. I get what you're trying to say. All right.
No, Matt, can you really tell me? I don't know what it is.
You don't know what polio is.
Yes. Well, I have another experiment.
Oh, great. Can't wait. What is it?
But for this one, we need a rooftop.
Oh, well, how are we going to get on the roof?
I have a little thing over here we can use. Well, Matt, if you want to just follow me over here. Watch your steps. Nothing much, but it'll get us there a little quicker. Ready? Keep your hands and feet in.
Okay. You invented a teleporting machine? This is awesome! Screw polio, this is amazing! You should be marketing this thing!
It just helps me get to places. So
Are you kidding? This is an amazing invention!
Okay. So anyways, I'm here on the rooftop now, and I'm going to be injecting this watermelon with the cure. Then I will throw it off the roof, and if it retains its shape and absorbs the fall, then we got a cure. If not, I'll just throw some fish sticks off the roof.
Fish sticks? What's that have to do with polio?
Yes, well, let's begin. So I'm going to inject.
The watermelon's taking the polio cure. I see that.
Yeah. Now let's go throw it off.
Okay. So it didn't quite work.
Yes, well, onto the fish sticks.
I still don't know what this has to do with polio.
Yes, well, I'm going to throw them off the roof.
All right, you do that. I see that worked well. That was horrible. What are you writing?
Oh, nothing.
Okay, so none of this worked, and you're drawing a dog.
This was a very successful day. Now, I'm going to go on vacation.
Vacation. What about me? What? How am I supposed to get off the roof? Oh man, this sucks.
What kind of cereal is this? I don't know, but it looks disgusting. Here, you taste it. Yeah, right. I'm not gonna taste it. Give it to Mikey. He'll eat absolutely anything. likes it? He really likes it?
Man, this cereal is scrumptious. It's impregnable.
New Kellogg's Evandir Bits. Start your day with Evandir Bits and take a bite out of your morning.
Evander necklace.
Now, receive a limited edition Evandir Bits necklace and specially marked boxes of Kellogg's Evandir Bits cereal. Evandir Bits are part of your complete breakfast.
It's impregnable.
Hey everybody, I'm here in North Korea for the first Western TV interview with Kim Jong-il, here on the Journal. When I sat down with the charismatic dictator, we talked about life, family, and how sweet Jessica Alba's ass is. Mr. Jong-il, can I say what a pleasure it is to meet you?
Oh, the pleasure all mine.
Let me start off by asking, how you been doing?
I'm fine. Although, I miss American Next Top Model. Do you know who got kicked off?
No, I don't. But it's good to hear that you're well. Because we in the Western world have only heard about the atrocities committed by your rule here. We don't know who the real Kim Jong-il even is.
Oh, that's because Connie Chung and I have falling out. She still no forgive me for cheating on her.
I'm sorry, did you say you cheated on Connie Chung?
Yes, with Uncle.
No, sir, I think you mean aunt, because if it was uncle, then you'd be a...
No, I don't mean Uncle.
So you're saying you're bisexual?
What you call me?
No, nothing. Let's move on. So what do you say at the allegations that your government is doing nuclear testing?
What allegations? It is true. We have end the world special. You buy 2 nuclear missiles, you get third half off.
But why would you do that, sir? You're making a lot of people in the Western world really nervous, and a lot of people around the world really nervous. So why would you generate that much fear?
Because I'm pissed off. Who cares what the world say? I'm still upset since they canceled Who the Boss. I love Tony. We have similar show in my country called My Uncle Masturbate in Fried Noodle. Not the same though.
Yeah, Who's the Boss was a great show.
Show?
It was just a TV show. Never mind, don't worry about that. George Bush has said he'd like to smash you like a bug.
A bug? He have country run by Terminator. If he wants to talk shit, I'll bring it to him old school. And I'll make him my bitch.
I believe it was Alexander Graham Bell, before he invented the telephone, when he said...
What are you talking about?
Alexander Graham Bell, when he invented the telephone.
Alexander Graham Bell no invent telephone. Kim Jong-il invent telephone.
No, I think it was Alexander Graham Bell.
Alexander Graham Bell, I'm tired of interview. Right, Joe?
What are you doing? Don't! I'm a journalist, damn it! This is Carlos DeVito coming to you from the Journal. I don't even know where I am. I've been beaten, I've been starved, and sentenced to death. The only thing I know for sure is Kim Jong-il is a bona fide madman. I've resorted to sexual favors to try and get this tape out into the free world. So the Canadian Embassy is watching. Help me! Help me! Help me! Get me out of here!
People losing money to online gambling. But what about the rare few that make a living from it? This is Dan McGrath. He's only 21 years old, and he's already successfully made enough money from online gambling to pay the rent, buy a new car, and pay for all the accessories that catch his eye.
Been playing online for about 3 years. I prefer no-limit Texas Hold'em just because of the advantages it has. You could push a player up by moving all in, whereas in Limit Hold'em, you have absolutely no opportunity to play your cards instead of playing the opponent like no limit does. So that's how I make most of my money, by pushing people around with my bigger stack. One big thing about online poker is that you're not really playing the person, you're playing the percentages. You're playing the cards and the math. The scam I have for playing online poker is to start low and win the $3, $5, $10 games, and when you make your money up to around 300, 400, take a chance at a big tournament. Because if you lose that money, it's not money you lost, it's money you won. The benefits of playing poker is that I don't have to have a job. In the 3 years I have been playing online poker, I've been able to basically put a down payment and rent this house out by myself. When it comes to poker, it is a risky business. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody I know or anybody that wants to make it into a career. You can lose a lot of money. The goal is to make it to the World Series of Poker or the World Poker Tour. Right now, I am trying to get on the World Poker Tour, and hopefully by I'm 30, I'll be there.
This is Eric White. He's a 23-year-old online gambler. Unlike Dan McGrath, Lady Luck hasn't been so nice to him.
I work stone restoration, masonry work, that type of stuff. But on the side, I'm also addicted to online gambling. At first, when I started out, I was, making a bit of money. I was winning a few games, and it was pretty exciting, the rush of winning. But then eventually I started losing a lot of money. Hundreds of dollars at first. Eventually it turned into thousands and thousands of dollars. All the money that I made at work, I'd come home, stay up all night, and lose it all. It's sad to see what happens when people get hooked on gambling and lose tons of money, lose friends, family, and respect from lots of people, no matter who it might be.
This is Daniel Stevenson. He's a 28-year-old social worker. He has helped many young adults go through addiction.
As most of you know from watching TV, you could tell that poker is on the rise right now, and a lot of the clients I handle are first-time players of the game, and they take mommy and daddy's credit card, go onto the computer and sign up to various gambling websites, most of which are offshore, and give the credit card information with no real secure authorization check. These people oftentimes become secluded by their addiction. Much like an addiction to drugs or alcohol, it only leads downward. I find it very easy to work from home. The people I work with find it very comfortable to deal with me on a one-to-one basis. I take all calls from my home office. I also answer my emails, and I do all my research online. It's very easy to take someone's credit card and log on to one of these offshore betting accounts and register somewhat easy without any true identification or identity checks. I feel this is becoming a phenomenon that has to be stopped. It will only continue. We should maybe strengthen or tighten the registration.
Online gambling isn't as good as it's cracked up to be. If you're not careful, you could just lose everything. This has been Andrew Jenkinson for The Journal.
Signs. Anybody can read signs. I can read a sign. You can read a sign. I can read a woman like a book. These so-called signs that they're broadcasting or they're supposed to signal men with, how hard could it be? I ask you, what is that hair flip? What does that mean? I notice a lot of girls, they do the hair flip. Is that something or is that nothing? Or am I an idiot for asking that?
I don't do the hair flip. I don't know. To play something, yeah, I do it. I do it for nervous. I do it. Yeah, that's why.
You do it because you're nervous? And what does that mean? Does that mean that you're interested in the guy that you do the hair flip to? Do you make eye contact with him?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. We've discovered one. Now let's go find some more.
I'll look at him. I'll make eye contact. I'll, nice smile. Maybe lick your lips a little, And if you're dancing and he's staring at you, dance so that he knows that you're watching you, so dance kind of sexily. That's not a word.
What else? I might get a little closer to him, like move my friends over there.
When you're hanging out with a girl, you know, she does that little sigh, like moan kind of thing. What does that mean? What the hell does that mean?
It means she wants you in bed.
You're hot, you know that.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, well, I got a question for you. You know, when you're in a bar, or even in a school situation, and you see a guy that you're interested in, what is the sign that you give to him?
Probably would just smile. I'm not like creepy. I wouldn't do anything weird.
What kind of smile do you give, or would you give?
Probably the one I'm giving right now, just a normal smile.
You know, when you're in that situation, you see a guy that you like, what signs do you give to him that, you know, like maybe from across the room, to let him know that you're interested?
Touch my hair.
Demander si tu rencontres un gars, mettons, dans un bar ou à l'école, OK? C'est quoi comme un signal pour dire qu'il est intéressé? Hey!
That's sexy enough. Once again, if a chick is speaking in a foreign language, that is a sign. We've discovered it. Let's move on.
I just look at him and wink, like, you know, give him the sign language body movement kind of thing.
I'd probably push him, like in grade school, you know, when kids run around and push each other because they like each other. I'd probably push him.
Kind of like push him into, like, say, a glass or something.
Or down the stairs.
Can you just demonstrate that to me right now? Can you just push me into a glass? Good God. You guys are hot. You know that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a given. Okay. Now, I got a question for both of you. If you see a guy, you know, in a bar, or even in a school situation that you're interested in, what are the signs that you do to let him know that you're interested in?
Something subtle, such as...
Is like taking my top off not obvious enough? Like, I don't get it. Confusing.
These girls have gone wild.
Hey, you wanna get together?
Now that we've discovered what these signs are, I'm gonna go pick up some chicks. Hell yeah.
Hey, what's going on, guys? We're here at the Nintendo Wii release party at Public Atlantis in the Ontario place. He's probably introduced the most exciting system in the next generation battle right here. So I'm actually here with one of my stars. Link, you have anything to say? Anything at all? Well, you know, I guess if you step inside, we'll see what I want to say. Here's another star of ours right here. The Nintendo Nunchuck. And believe me, it does do some damage.
Yo, what's up? Urbanology and G-Force. This your boy
What's up?
Genuine.
Tonight, hey,
We right
shouting
here.
out Urbanology and G-Force at the Belly and
What's up,
Genuine
everybody?
Video
This is
Pressure.
Corey Lee hanging out with Urbanology and
Yeah,
G-Force.
this is Belly Boy, and you know I'm with Urbanology and G-Force, and this is what we're doing, baby. We're here on the set of Pressure featuring Genuine, which is my first video, first single, which is top 20 in Canada. We're gonna get it poppin', show y'all what's going on, what's going down. Let's go.
Back with a couple buddies and talking in a classic. And there's nothing worse than watching those classics with the top 10 worst movie companions. These kinds of people are everywhere. They're in your home, they're in your theaters, grinding your nerves till there's nothing left. Starting us off at number 10 is The Reciter. These people you usually find on your very own couch. They're the guys who see the movie way too many times. It's like a sing-along from hell. Number 9 is The Cell Phone Guy. You're so into the movie, and then all you hear is,
"Yo, pal, what's up, man?"
pretty
We're about to
self-explanatory.
watch a movie, man. We're just-
Coming in at number 8 is the I love this part guy. He sees a part he loves. Sure, what the hell? Let's share it with the world. Kissing us off at number 7 is the laugher. Was the part even that funny? Did it truly deserve the exaggerated laugh? Number 6 on the top 10 is the abuser. That's the last guy you want to sit beside. Excitement tends to get them a little rowdy. Annoyingness at number 5 is the critic,
I'd rather go watch some K-Fed concert than watch this crap.
who has no problem verbally expressing how he feels about the movie during the movie. Number 4 is the did you see that guy?
That's amazing. That's
Of
pretty
course
good, man.
we
Look
saw
at
it.
that.
We're sitting
Isn't
right
that good?
beside you. Creeping up at number 3 is the he's behind you guy.
Don't look in the closet, man. Come on. He's right behind you. He's right behind you. Come on.
Number 2 on the list is the sap. These people don't have the ability to differentiate a movie from reality. It's a movie, honey. Relax. And taking the number 1 spot on the Journal's top 10 worst movie companions is the chameleon. They're the people that leave the theater in character. I'm Elisa Federici, and that's it for the Journal's top 10 worst movie companions.
Tanisha Richards is an amazing dancer and faced many challenges in her life, but still pushes to be at the top. This is her story.
I first started dancing from I can remember. That's when I first started dancing, because my mom loves music, and automatically as a baby you just hopping and bumping. I joined Unique first, and then I just kept getting better and progressing in dancing and my skills, and then Ruckus asked me to audition for the group, and I auditioned and I got the part. Remembering dance moves, that's a huge challenge. And being aware of all your surroundings and your own body at the same time, and remembering what comes next and anticipating. And another challenge is getting along with the people around you when you're dancing. And yeah, basically your other dance members. I haven't had professional training. I was self-taught, basically, and in high school, I took a musical theater class and also a dance class, and both classes incorporated dance, and I got basically like modern training, you can say, and a little bit of jazz, but more of like modern ballet. Some struggles. Loss of money is a main struggle in starting out when you're dancing, because you have to put so much time and effort into this dancing thing, and you know it's your own time. You have to have serious dedication. So therefore, basically, time is not money. Practices, very, very intense, very drained. I feel like sometimes I have no energy to do anything afterwards. No fun, no partying when practices the next morning, because you won't make it. You have to have serious self-control. Me, I see myself being very successful somewhere in the entertainment industry. I want to accomplish performing many, many, many places and getting myself out there and getting my face out there, so when someone says Tanisha or T-Boogies, they know this girl is an amazing dancer. Keep your head up. If you have a goal in dancing, keep going for it. Don't let anything cross your path and take you out of the direction you're heading in. And push. Push.
Ever wonder what it'd be like to actually learn how to scratch like a professional DJ? Check it out.
Well, I decided to take a few lessons from a Toronto local hip-hop DJ, Skew, who has been spinning for the last 9 years. He fell in love with hip-hop in the early 90s. It wasn't before long that he picked up a pair of turntables and a mixer, learning with his brother and friends, and hasn't looked back since.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, oh yeah, what's up, man?
So this is the place, huh?
Yeah, man, this is the spot. You want to come on and check it out?
All right.
All right.
Check
Oh,
it out.
wow. What is all this? This is a crazy setup you got going on here.
Thanks, man. Well, for the turntables, I'm rocking Technique 1200s. And for the mixer, I got a Vestax 05 Pro 3. And that's pretty much the basic setup that your scratch pickles and your executioners use for battling sets.
You got these fancy, I see the needles you got here going too, is it?
Yeah, the needles I rock Shure M44-7s, and they're like pretty much your standard turntablism scratching needles because they won't skip as much and they're pretty durable and they're soft on the records. And so altogether, that's pretty much all you need along with an amp and some speakers.
All right. So I'm a big loser, and this looks very complicated. You think it's possible for me to actually learn how to DJ here?
Yeah, man, it looks a lot more complicated than it is. Really, once you learn the basic fundamentals of it all, a couple of scratches, a couple of cuts, you can really start building it all up into a nice skill set. So if you want, I can show you a couple little tricks that you can go out and impress the ladies with sometime if you want.
All right, let's teach me the first thing I need to know.
All right, cool, man. Well, the first thing I'm probably going to show you then is something we call the baby scratch. It's just one little wicka scratch. It's an open fader scratch, so we're not even going to touch our crossfader. And all I'm going to do is run through my sample with a little scribble motion with my finger and then let it play out, just like so. Alright, so that's it. You think you want to give it a try now?
All right. Let's do this.
It's not too bad. Give it a shot, man.
All right. So just Man, not bad.
Yeah, that's alright, man.
So what exactly is this thing here? I see all the DJs moving this thing around with their fingers. What's up? Is that the controller of the whole...
Yeah, this is your mixing console. So right here, down here is the crossfader. That's probably the most important part other than your volume checks. And that's going to let you play the sound that's on your left table or your right table, your 1 and your 2. And that's how you can really mix your tracks from one side to the other, or to give it that choppy sound and the cut-up hip-hop sound, use your crossfader just kind of cutting in and tricking out your sounds as you scratch them to give it that urban, clicky feel that, you know, most hip-hop has. Alright, and so the next thing I'm going to show you how to do is something called the transformer, and I'm going to use my left hand to work the records over here, and with my right hand I'm going to be cutting in and out on the crossfader to give it that choppy sound that we can associate with hip-hop all the time, you know, that stuttering sound. So it's a little something like this. I'm going to move slowly through the sample and just chop it up with my right hand.
Transformer. I like that one. I definitely got to learn that one later because that's going to take some time. What would you say for myself, you know, to get to, you know, to your level? You saw me a little bit there. What do you think?
Well, you know, I hope by the time you have grandkids that you can show them something or two, but you know, I wouldn't count on catching up to me anytime soon.
Well, thanks a lot for helping me out.
And thanks for coming by, but yo, stay true to it, play with it all the time.
The Queen's Plate, the Kentucky Derby, the Breeders' Cup. I'm sure many of you are wondering what these are. Well, they're races. What kind of races? Horse races. Horse racing is a sport which has been around for decades but is unfamiliar to many. I myself would have never taken interest if it weren't for my father, Clifton Hart.
I've been a horse racing fan for over 30 years. Now, I moved to Toronto in 1981. And as you can imagine, one of the first things that I looked for was where to find the racetrack. The racing here was, you know, like much different from what it was in Jamaica, at least what I remembered leaving in Jamaica. But it didn't take me long to catch on. You know, we didn't have like the racing form and stuff like that that they use here. But because I love the sport so much, I knew that it was just a matter of time that I would be so entrenched in this thing that I could pretty much consider myself a handicapper.
Handicapping? What's that? For that answer and some more insight on horse racing, I visited my buddy Phil, an employee at Woodbine Racetrack and a longtime horse racing enthusiast.
A handicapper is a person who tries to pick winners of horse races, and some of the tools they use to do that, they'll read the racing form. They'll try to look at a horse's form, how this horse is running. Maybe he ran a bad race in his last race, but there was an excuse for that, so I might play him today. I'm willing to overlook his stinker race that he ran last time, thinking that he's going to bounce back strong this time.
I realized that, you know, handicapping the horses is something that you have to constantly work on.
After speaking with my dad and Phil, I certainly knew more about the sport than I did before. But I still, however, had one last question. Is horse racing even a sport? Because I used to view it as simply a hobby or a pastime, much like playing pool.
Horse racing is definitely a sport in every sense of the word, because horses are 1,200-pound animals that are finely tuned to peak on a certain race, and they're going up against other horses that are similarly fine-tuned, and it's that clash of who's going to be the best on that particular day that makes it a sport. It's a competition to see, because like as I mentioned earlier, you have speed horses. Maybe one speed horse will win that 3-horse duel and be the best that day, and a closer won't even be able to come and pass them in the stretch. It's a sport also because the jockeys have to be in outstanding condition. They have to keep their weight down. They have to be brave to go into tight spots where they could risk their life and limb. And they also have to use good judgment to decide when to move their horse at a critical time in the race, to be thinking strategy all the time.
Now that I know a bit more, got some useful tips, and I'm a bit more familiar with my dad's fascination, I decided to test my luck, and I made my first wager.
I would not advise, newcomers to start, exploring those things yet. You wait until you have gathered enough knowledge of the sport before you start making those wagers. Stick to, win, place, and show, like the smaller wagers first. And once you can master that, then you move on to the more, complicated exotic stuff. There's big money to be made in those things, but, it's something that you need to understand very well before you can become successful at it. There's nothing better than to be with your friends, pick a horse, tell your friends that this horse is going to win, and watch the horse beat the ones that everybody else is saying that have no chance. Like everybody else, telling you that no, this horse has no chance. Like when you do your homework, man, when you go deep in your racing form and find that horse, and you go there and tell them and watch the horse win, there's no better feeling.
In the past, Barbies, action figures, and figurines were predominantly collected by children. But as they say, times are changing.
Go to your room, do your chores, and you must do it, okay? No, you. No.
Hi there. I'm Catherine Murray, and I am an adult collector. Join me today as I go on a mission to find out if there are other adult collectors out there like me, or if I'm just a weirdo.
My name is Stella Taylor, so I can't even remember the first time I got a collection started. Well, it started out as gifts, And then I saw things that I liked, so I picked them up. I continued on for a while. I've got the cherished teddies, I've got dolls, I've got a couple of collector plates, and some pictures. Something that, if you see something that you like, you buy it because it makes you feel good.
The next stop on my journey was to Martin House Dolls, where I talked with Christine about the history of the store and the art of collecting.
The building itself was built in 1845 by John Martin. He was a carpenter from Devonshire, England. He built most of the homes in this area, and his family actually lived in this house. And then in 1984, the store was open. We just had dolls and teddy bears at first, and then because so many people were asking for miniatures and dollhouses, we added the dollhouses and the miniatures. Well, I started out as a customer here. I collected teddy bears to start with. So this was pretty much the only place where I can come to get collector teddy bears. And when I found out they were looking for somebody, I jumped at the chance. So, you know, it's great to be able to do a job that you actually love doing and, you know, have an interest in. Most of our collectors are adults, mostly women who, you know, never had a chance to have a doll when they were younger. Myself included, I never really had a teddy bear until I was into my 30s. So a chance to really, not really relive the childhood you missed out on, but to create those memories, I guess.
After learning so much about dolls and miniatures, I decided to talk to a male action figure collector to get his side of the story.
My name is Ko Terauchi. Ever since I was a kid, I was always big on movies and toys. And I would say about the age of 13, that's when all these figures that you see started coming out, where they had the toys of, like, you know, of these horror icons and these big, you know, in like these very highly detailed, in this highly detailed manner. And basically, I don't know, it's just when I noticed these figures, at first I thought, geez, like, I couldn't believe it. I thought they were like expensive pieces of toys, but then, you know, I checked it out and everything, and they were at an affordable price. The reason I keep a lot of them in boxes is A, because I'm starting to run out of space to, you know, put up my toys in general, and B, it's because it's the appreciation of a figure in a box. It's a lot more different than, you know, opening it and putting it out, you know, and like, because when it comes in the whole, you appreciate it, you know, with the packaging and, you know, just the figure as a whole, how it came into the market. So, and plus on top of that, just, I don't know, if I'm in some kind of financial struggle, you know, it's just, they'd be worth a lot more money. There's got to be some kind of excitement to collecting, you know, to having a collection in general, because it's a hobby you enjoy, and, you know, you're always looking forward to the new things coming out, because once you have something, it's like you already have it.
I asked Ko what advice he would give to an up-and-coming collector.
First thing is to find out how much you really enjoy them, and second thing is the finance. Make sure you're financially stable if you're going to collect these things, because, I mean, a collection is an ongoing thing, and it doesn't stop, you know, so just to make sure that you have, you know, money that you can dish out on such things.
It is clear that I'm not alone. There are others out there just as wacky as myself. If you have a passion for something, show it and try and start a collection. Reporting live for the Journal, I'm Catherine Murray. Take a look.
We've gone on YouTube and stumbled upon videos of people performing cool-looking stunts around urban landscapes. This actually has a name. It's called parkour.
Parkour is a way to use your body, and just your body, to move from one point to another point in the city or in the urban landscape as fast and as quick as possible. I saw a video back in the day. I was just cruising the internet. I saw this video of this guy jumping around, and I was like, oh man, this is something I've never seen before. This is totally different. So me and my buddy, we went out one night to a park, and then we tried it out. And then from that night, it was sort of like, yeah, this stuff's a lot harder than, you know, it looked in the video. And from then it sort of stuck. The website started when we realized there was a need to get a site where people can all come together and learn together. And back in about 2003, there was quite a few people that came onto the site, seeing videos, seeing other things, and we said, yeah, we need a site. And so 3 or 4 of us got together, we made the site, and then from that group of 3 or 4, it's gone up to, you know, in the thousands at some points, so it's grown quite a bit.
I spoke to Steve, who is experienced in the art of parkour. Within the inner circles of the parkour community, he is considered one of the best in Canada.
In parkour, whereas like one specific aspect, one thing that's special about it is people that as soon as you start doing parkour and you contact some other people in the scene, everybody's so welcoming. So you meet new friends, people you hang out with, and they become good friends. Like some of the best friends I have now was because of parkour. And I have friends like all over Canada and the world just because of that. So there's different things you can get out of parkour, but it depends on your approach to it. How serious you are. If it's just a hobby, well, you'll meet some new friends. It depends on the person's approach. If somebody takes it as a lifestyle, they dedicate a lot to it, they can get a lot from it. If they train a lot physically in the body, they can get some special aspect to it. Some people will, some people won't. Depends on your approach. Can help a lot of people get confidence. But anything where you work your body and you progress and it helps you advance, people are gonna start get more confidence and all that. So just any type of training where you train your body and you see yourself grow, you're gonna get something out of it.
So the next time you decide to slide down a banister or do a backflip off a wall, don't worry, you're not crazy. You're part of a vastly growing movement called parkour. I'm Tony Tang for The Journal.
Simon Brockpay is a native Canadian who tries to tie in traditional native spirituality with practical ways to help the environment. He has been involved in the Earth Summit and deals with these issues on a daily basis at Health Canada.
Indigenous peoples lived in harmony with nature since the beginning of time. So they have knowledge about living in harmony with different environments. One of the things that elders are telling us is that we're as healthy as the environment is. So our health, everybody's health, is in jeopardy from the problems that we're creating with the environment.
Will Sachs is an engineering graduate from McGill. While in Montreal, Will and a group of other McGill students built and raced a solar car across North America. Currently, he is working on making big corporations more environmentally friendly.
The average North American uses twice as much energy per capita as a European, and our life is not twice as good as theirs. So we're very gluttonous with energy in North America. We're building an environmental deficit. So after 20 or 30 years of this deficit, it's going to be very hard for us to get back that environmental capital that we're squandering right now. So if we don't change our ways, I think we're going to be in trouble because our climate is getting more and more erratic. Our water supplies are getting contaminated and used up, and our ecosystems are getting destroyed and biodiversity is getting destroyed, and getting that back is going to be much harder the longer we wait to do something about it.
When it's going to hit. The sun rose in the east and will travel through the sky and will settle in the west this evening.
Humans' original teachings was to keep things pure, to keep the air pure, to keep the water pure, to keep Mother Earth pure, and that's our job. Over the millennia, Indigenous peoples have been able to live up to their agreement with the Creator in keeping the environment clean by the lifestyle that they've chosen. One of the puzzles that I've been wrestling with for years is if we could mimic Indigenous people's lives in the world that we live, how would that have an impact on the environment? I think one of the major teachings that Indigenous people have is respect, and I think the respect for nature, for all living things, for humans, for all the gifts that we've been given to us by the Creator is an important value that I think we have lost. We've got to find a balance where our spiritual lives are as important as our physical or our emotional and our cultural lives. I think that's the lesson that we learn from Indigenous people and elders in our communities.
Although there are many tips and practical ways to help the environment, many forget the one other aspect to help the Earth: That is to respect one another and the environment around you.
Have you ever wished that you could fly? Well, Kunal Arora has made this wish come true. Kunal is learning how to become a pilot. Let's fasten our seatbelts to find out how he achieved these goals.
Well, ever since I was a little child, I've always aspired to be a pilot. We used to live near a fairly large airport, so I used to see all the planes fly overhead, and it's just been a dream ever since.
First, Kunal showed us the procedures he has to perform before taking off.
Making sure that the flaps are connected properly. Again, all the nuts and everything are in place. My favorite part about flying is just traveling and seeing the world. I mean, we're traveling to all parts of Canada right now, so I get to see different parts and see the different cultures and everything.
So what is Kunal's ultimate goal?
I'd like to become a commercial pilot. I'll be achieving that by completing all my licenses here, and then I will be going to India and I'll be joining an airline in India. So far I have my private pilot's license, so I'm allowed to take any single light engine plane and take passengers. To still achieve my goals, I'll have to learn to fly a multi-engine plane, which has 2 or more engines, which I'm currently learning right now. And then I have to also gain my instrument rating, which will allow me to fly through bad weather and just fly basically using my instruments, and then after that is my commercial.
All of us have had our dreams, but Kunal is one individual who is determined to fulfill them. This is Shivali Sikka reporting for the Journal.